Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful idea. What if your past challenges didn't have to define your future? We're going to see how the very things that tested you can actually become the foundation for a life filled with purpose and strength.
This quote right here, this is really the heart of everything we're talking about. It sets the stage perfectly for this journey from feeling like a victim of your circumstances to becoming the author of your own story. You know, when it comes down to it, it's all about choice.
All right, so where do we even begin? Well, we start by looking back. But, and this is so important, we're not looking back to get stuck there. Think of your past like the "you are here" dot on a map. It shows you where you started, but it says absolutely nothing about your final destination.
Now you're looking at a number on the screen, 7. What's that about? Well, this represents something called an ACEs score. Let's break down what that actually means.
So, ACEs stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences, and it's basically a tally of different kinds of adversities someone might have faced before they turned 18. You can think of it as a way to measure the total stress load on a person's developing brain. But here's the most important thing to remember. It's an inventory of what happened to someone, not a judgment of who they are.
And this is probably the most crucial point of all. A score like this is just a risk marker. It might indicate a higher statistical chance for certain challenges later on, but, and I really want this to sink in, it is not a life sentence. It is data, not destiny.
Okay, so if the past isn't our destiny, then what is it? This is where we make a huge shift in thinking. This is where we start to reframe the whole experience of trauma, not as something that damaged us, but as a kind of intense, unconventional training.
I love this slide because it shows the contrast so clearly. On one side, you've got the old, disempowering story, I'm broken, I'm weak, I'm damaged. But on the other side, you have this new empowering truth. You're not broken, you adapted. You're not weak, you were trained under pressure. Not damaged, you're deeply aware. And believe me, this isn't just playing with words, it's a fundamental change in how you see yourself.
And this is where you really see the results of that so-called training. Because when you have to navigate really high-stress environments, you build these incredible, almost paradoxical skills. You end up with profound empathy, you're an amazing problem solver, you have the sharp radar for injustice. These are not scars or weaknesses, they're basically superpowers. Superpowers forged in adversity.
This quote just captures that transition perfectly. The very instincts and skills that you developed simply for survival, just to keep yourself safe, can be consciously harnessed and turned into these powerful tools for leadership and for helping others.
Now, understanding this potential is one thing, but how do you actually make that leap? That is what this next section is all about. It lays out a really clear, structured roadmap to guide that journey, from just surviving to truly thriving with a real purpose.
The path is broken down into 3 core stages. It all starts with the internal work, right? Clearing out the mental fog and healing those emotional wounds. From that solid foundation, you build on it by growing your skills and strengthening your sense of who you are, beyond just being a survivor. And then finally, you step into a life of purpose, ready to make a real impact.
You know, ultimately, this whole process is about creating a profound shift inside of you. It's about moving from confusion to clarity, from feeling under threat all the time to feeling a sense of safety in your heart, and from just drifting along to having a clear, confident direction in life.
Now, of course, any journey like this needs a really solid foundation. The principles behind the approach are absolutely crucial for making sure that any change is both safe and that it actually lasts. So let's take a look at what those principles are. Any trustworthy framework has to be built on solid ground. That means it needs to be trauma-informed, so it actually understands the impact of trauma, and it's got to be guided by practices that have been proven to work. That's what ensures a process is safe, respectful, and, actually effective.
An approach that's grounded in principles like these can have a truly profound impact. I mean, it's the kind of work that can lead to recognized changes in social justice, mental health, and in building up communities. The goal is always to move beyond just theory and create positive, lasting transformation in the real world.
So let's bring all of this together. We've seen the starting point. We've walked through the roadmap. Now let's focus on the destination, that incredible transformation from a life defined by survival to a life driven by purpose.
Just look at this transformation. It's a journey from confusion to clarity, from living with pain to actively healing. from being stuck in survival mode to living a life of purpose. And maybe most powerfully, it's that shift from just coping with life to making a meaningful contribution to the world around you.
And we end with this powerful evolution of that idea we started with. Our past, our aces, they explain our starting point. They give us context and understanding. But it's our choices, the ones we make today and every day from here on out, that truly define where we're going. The power is always in the present.
So, the final thought I want to leave you with is a question. Knowing that your past is just a starting point and not your final destination, and knowing that you have the power of choice, where will you decide to go next?